Today in Nigeria, no doubt, the major concern for everyone is security or a lack of it. With this spate of kidnappings, robberies, killings and terrorism in parts of the country, many believe more still needs to be done to ensure adequate protection of lives and property. And as much as adequate security and protection of lives and property cannot be left in the hands of government and security agencies alone, this means that the people have a greater role to play in the internal security of the country. Now, what are these roles? How can the community be involved? And how can there be proper synergy between the community security agencies and the government? Well, our guests will be on hand shortly to answer these and other questions relating to community role in internal security on this edition of Nigeria Today. Welcome to the program. I'm Dennis Adigunloye. All right, joining us via Zoom to discuss the topic community role in internal security, we have Kabir Adamu, a security risk management expert. You're very welcome to Nigeria Today once again. Thank you for having me. Good evening. All right, and joining us in the studio is Bolaji Adigun Otumba. Bolaji Adigun, he is the Police Community Relations Committee FCT Command Chairman. You're also very welcome to the program.
Good evening, viewers.
All right, I'll begin with you, sir. We've all heard the phrase, security is everyone's business. It's not just for the government and security outfits alone. What can we as the ordinary citizen do on our part to ensure greater security for ourselves and our neighbors?
Yeah, thank you very much. As a community leader, that we have been discussing on this issue several times, it's a simple thing you have said, which is the common slogan now: security is everybody's business. Nobody says it's the community business or the agency's business. It's everybody's business. And as a community, we just have to start by appreciating what the agencies are doing. Because when you look at the percentage, for example, now we are about 220 million according to census. And I believe the total security agencies we have are now up to 20%.
Yeah.
So what can they do? Than to come in to see the best way we can save ourselves, we can secure ourselves. And the first thing we need to do is to have the understanding within the villages, within the community, within the areas, within the churches, within the mosque. And all we need to do is to preach good relationship within ourselves. We must have understanding of what is the security. Because if everybody, every area can secure its or her own community, I think we can start from there, than leaving everything to the government. For example, if a little community within the area can form a small vigilante, know yourself, I know myself, we know that nobody can come into our village or our own community without the effort of the person there. So what we need to do is to know ourselves. When we know ourselves, we'll be able to know the bad eggs. And we should be able to take care of ourselves. For example, if we give all these our traditional rulers power, down to the grassroots, we call them Yangwa. In Yoruba, we have ballets, we have these things. And we can now give them the power of seeing how we can secure our areas. There will be a forum whereby we can secure and tell them the way, the formula we want. For example, some areas that has a gate, they say, okay, from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock, nobody should come in. And you have two people guiding this. Once there is anything, raise alarm. Once there is anything, let people, other people know. With this, I think, instead of leaving everything to the government hands, there will be self-discipline force within ourselves, self-security program, and synergy within ourselves. It will help us a lot.
Sure. All right, let me bring our guest in who is joining us via Zoom, Kabir Adamu, security risk management experts. No doubt you've heard of a lot of what Otumba Bolaji Adigun has said. It would seem to me, correct me if I'm wrong, that a lot of these issues of security tend to happen more often than not in the rural areas. Given what he has said in the studio, just give us your take on what the community can do to enhance security in their regions and their vicinities.
Thank you very much once again, and good evening all. So, I mean, we can look at this from two levels. One is the platforms that are being provided by the security organizations for community participation. And then from the role of the community, what can they volunteer outside of these platforms, or even to feed into the platforms? So let me start with the platforms that have been provided by the security organizations. So if we use the police as an example, and with the recent embracing of the community policing strategy, you would realize that there are about two levels that have been established. One is the community policing committees at various levels, starting from the state levels down to the community levels, where individuals that are representatives of different communities within the society, so women's societies, market societies, youth groups, name them, would form a committee that would now comprise of that community policing committee. That's one platform. Then you also have the constables that will be elected from within the community and trained by the police to manage minor differences that would occur among members of that community. So in a nutshell, under the community policing strategy, those are the two platforms that have been provided by the police. Now, how can the community fit into these two platforms? Now, for the committees, remember that these are persons that have been selected from different communities within the community. So if it's women, as an example, let's assume the issue that is affecting women in that community is gender-based violence. That means they can feed that concern to their representatives who is in that committee, who will in turn discuss it at the level of the committee, and that committee will in turn discuss it with the police. And then strategies to address gender-based violence will now be rolled out by the police, involving sometimes training of special police officers, as well as training of members of the community policing committee, who will in turn now put out strategies to address gender-based violence. That's how we can look at all members of the committee. If it's youth as an example, what are their challenges unique to that segment of the society? So members of the community can feed into those platforms in that manner. Now, if we go to the issue of constables, remember that these are persons picked from within the society, and they feel the pulse of the society. They know the issues that is affecting the society. So that means, for instance, if anything is happening, they can pick it up and then feed it into the policing strategy that is being rolled out as a whole in the community. And that's how it can transcend to the state level and then to the national level. So those are for the platforms. Now, with regards to the role of the individuals within the society outside of these platforms, now it's usually information. Those offenders, and by offenders I mean the whole range of offenders. We can talk of minor crimes, we can talk of banditry, we can talk of terrorism. They are not ghosts. They subsist within the society. And that means someone somewhere knows about them. And when they are planning, as well as when they are executing the activity, someone will pick it up and he will know about it. So what do you do with that information? Do you keep it to yourself, saying, well, it doesn't concern me, when in reality it would definitely concern you one way or the other? So basically, that's in a nutshell, the role of the community is to gather this information and then provide it to the security agencies in a manner that would help them solve the common problem of that society, of the community that we're subsisting in. Now, we can also go further and ask ourselves, why isn't the community in Nigeria playing that role adequately of recent? Over time, there have been challenges. Sometimes we've had that where people play this role, then that day in the middle of the night, someone will knock on their door and they will be executed. This has happened in the Northeast as an example. So that means there is a responsibility for the security organizations to also provide a safe and secure platform for members of the community to make available this type of information. Perhaps in the course of the conversation, we can expand on some of these areas.
All right, thanks for that, Dr. Kabir. Let me bring in Otumba Adigun on that point. no doubt, I mean, as you said, and we all know that these bandits, kidnappers, whoever they are, they're not spirits. They are living among us. And no doubt people are aware of who they are and what they're planning. But there's always the apprehension that they do not want to come forward with credible or relevant information to give to the authorities. How can we, or the authorities, improve that level of trust and protection for those who are willing to come forward with information without having to fear repercussions from whomsoever?
Well, I think just like my professional person in the security has said, it's a simple thing. And it's just people are not aware, or sometimes we always feel very ignorant of whatever power we are given to. Yeah. For example, the establishment of PCRC, Police Community Relations Committee, Police Relations Committee, putting them together, which if I and you are part of it, I think we are solving the problem. Like he said, most of us, we have problems, we have plans, but we don't know where to take it to. I can tell you that PCRC, Police Community Relations Committee, is established since 1984. Because the police itself knows that the logistic and the remuneration of them are below what we have, and they give us the power. Right. But people always misuse some of these things. Once you have these problems, like last year we had 1 or 2 people that sponsored this sensitization. We had one in Zuba. You need to see some people don't believe that they can speak to the police directly. And when you have information, you don't just go to the counter and throw in information. You have to ask for the highest person on that station. That's the DPO. And if it's AIG, you ask for the zonal commander. And if it's the FCT, for example, Balachi Roma is 24 hours open to suggestions and reports. And he will never tell you what this is his source of information. You can text him without even putting your name. And I think there are a lot of numbers that have been given for complaints. And you don't need to put your number. Just give us the correct information and all of the things are done. Most of us, we always wait until the government. Like we are saying, these are the things the community needs to do. Yeah. And like he's mentioning about the community policing and special constable. This is a very good welcome thing within ourselves, because you know me, I know you. And like I said, it is giving up the power. Like now, for example, if now my son is a special constable, Mala Musa's son is a constable, Chidoke's son is a constable, Wilson is a constable, and we are all within ourselves. You can imagine when we are playing football, you don't know whose tribe, whoever is the person coming from. So if we can establish this type of thing within our community and give them power, then they'll be wearing uniform. But the policing is within your own community. And there are routes and where you can channel your information to. You can only channel it to the DPO. And most of us, when we give the information, we go back to tell our people, I'm the person that gives the information for Mr. So to be tackled. So that is where we are facing that problem again. Also, people, they go to the beer parlor, and when they are drinking, they understand that man on Nami give information where they don't jail him. You are killing yourself. Information is supposed to be within yourself and the person you are passing it to.
Has to be discreetly delivered to the relevant
exactly,
person.
To the relevant.
All right, thanks for that point. Okay, we will continue our discussions shortly. You are on to Nigeria Today. Do stay with us. We'll be right back after this break. All right, you're welcome back. This is Nigeria Today. For those just tuning in, we are discussing community role in internal security. We have in the studio Otumba Bolaji Adigun, Police Community Relations Committee, PCRC FCT Command Chairman, here with us in the studio. And joining us via Zoom is Dr. Kabir Adamu, Security Risk Management Expert. Dr. Kabir, let's talk about the role of traditional leaders. A lot has been said about them, and maybe that they're not getting so much of a role to play in this issue of internal security. Just give us your take on the role of traditional rulers.
Thank you once again. So traditional rulers, leaders, have a very critical role to play in internal security, mainly because they are probably the closest to the people. If we also appreciate the reverence, the respect that Nigerians give traditional leaders, then you would agree with me that they are one of perhaps the best institutions through which government and other security departments can harness and harvest information that will be relevant to solving any security challenge. In fact, even before it happens. Now, unfortunately, over our history, their constitutional role in administration, as well as in supporting the security architecture, has been reduced significantly. And this is something that happened over a period of, from independence up till today. And I know that there has been committees set up by different governments to look into this matter and see how their role can be strengthened. And the good news is that just a few weeks back, one of these committees that was headed by the erstwhile Sultan of Sokoto, Sultan Ibrahim the Sukilate, was brought up. And I know there is current discussion on how the role of these traditional rulers can be strengthened. In the past, whenever there is a visitor or a strange person in any community, the traditional rulers would know through the various institutions that they have, from depending on what part of Nigeria you are in, and it will be communicated to the leadership in that community. Now the leadership would take responsibility. He would find out who that person is, and if that person has brought in a culture that is alien to the people, including offending, like we're discussing at the moment, that traditional ruler can either ask the person to leave or invite the security agencies to address whatever issue that person. Unfortunately, that role is no longer being played by traditional rulers, mainly because as a result of these administrative changes, their powers have been stripped and they are no longer able to play that administrative role that they used to play in the past. So I'm hoping that going forward, especially as the discussion that I mentioned advances, we see a return to that situation where traditional rulers are able to play the role they were playing in former times.
All right, a very important point there. Let me get Otumba Adigun's take on that, this administrative role on the part of traditional rulers. No doubt they have an influential role that they can play within their communities. So what is PCRC doing to, maybe potentially increase this role of the traditional rulers in security?
Well, just like my doctor said, we have gone out of the time the traditional rulers had the power, and it has to come back if actually we want the community to get into the situation. I can take example. I was in Jigawa. In Kano, so many places, you will see the Emir's Palace very close. You must see a prison yard very, very close to them. And then people are always afraid because the community will see when somebody is being in prison and they'll be asking who is the son of so person. So everybody is always skeptical not to come into the prison. I want to announce today that the police CP, Bala Chiroma, has given us the blessing. In fact, it's not quite 2 hours I left his office. We have planned with the community policing OC in charge of the police community I think his my name is CSP Busari. We have agreed for us to go into 6. We divided into 6 areas. So we are starting with the metropolitan. We invite all the traditional rulers there. Be any tribe, it has to be an agreed system, whereby because each area has its own peculiar problems, and that's why we have been able to find out that each area we need to sit down and fine tune and give them the power. And the area command star will come in. There's the area command police commander will come in to have an eye-to-eye witness with the traditionals, and by giving them the power of anything that happens, this is my number, this is what I think they will be happy about it. From there we move to Abaji. In Abaji we have a peculiar problem that is facing there. For now we come back to Gwabalada. Is a different thing. In Pape they're having this. So we have divided into 6, and by His grace, immediately after the fasting period and this thing, we're going to take up, because community security needs to be hardened up and checked holistically, that everything should be done accordingly. And with that, I'm sure there will be less crime in the society and in the community.
Sure. And
because we are getting them involved.
And just very briefly, how would you assess the level of confidence that the community has in the police in terms of trusting and coming forward with information? How confident are the people? Is there still an issue of mistrust there?
Yes, I would say 100% now. I think we are still using the olden days system of the policing. The modern policing now, they are even more active than us.
All right. Okay.
I think they are doing their best.
Sure. All right, our time is running out. Let me give the last word to Dr. Kabir. Dr. Kabir, just give us your final thoughts and comments on this issue, especially with regards to how you would implore the public to be more security conscious and to be more involved in internal security.
Thank you. So there is the common saying, which in fact the US made it a slogan, and sometimes in Nigeria you hear political leaders also saying it, as well as leaders in the security, industry or architecture. See something, say something. That would be my advice to every Nigerian. You can imagine being in a ship where there are 2 decks, and you're on the top deck. Now the people in the lower deck are punching holes into the ship, and you decide to keep quiet. Before you know it, you will sink. Now that's what will happen if we decide to see any security challenge and keep quiet. Unfortunately, one day it will affect us.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Kabir Adamu, security risk management expert. Always good to have you on our program and to get your thoughts and perspectives, especially on national issues and matters of security. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Stay safe.
You're welcome. You too. And thanks to Otumba Bolaji Adigun, Police Community Relations Committee, PCRC, FCT Command Chairman. Many thanks for gracing us with your presence on Nigeria Today as well.
Thank you very much. I pray that we shall be united.
Amen. We certainly hope so. And thank you out there for watching. Nigeria Today is live at 7:30 every weekday in the evening, of course. So you can also catch this and other editions of the program and other programs on NTA News 24 on youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I'm Dennis Adigun. Bye for now.